What? Oh,
Ready?
are we on?
Yeah, we're doing it.
Oh, welcome to the Ro Rogan podcast.
It's Joe Roman.
No, it's Ro Rogan. The Ro Rogan podcast. I'm here to give it legitimacy.
Okay, what did you want to talk about?
Just how I'm here to make your podcast everything that it should be. I mean,
What do you think it should be?
I think it should be the Ro Rogan podcast. Like, it's like the alternative to Joe Rogan's podcast.
The Ro Rogan. Like,
The Ro
it's
Rogan.
Like the gay.
I mean, speak for yourself, but...
I'm not gay. I just mean because you're...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi.
We don't have a lot of time, and you insisted on being on my podcast, and you're here in town.
Oh, is that what happened?
You were laying in the guest bedroom demanding that you come on my podcast.
That I come on your podcast.
We have a very little amount of time before your airplane.
I'm saving my cum. I'm old. I have to save it now.
What are you saving it for?
For that special lady.
Why don't you tell us about her?
Well, she's a magical being. She's in Guatemala, and she tolerates me.
That must be really difficult for her.
It is. Yeah.
We know a lot of the same people because we used to throw or attend desert parties for like decades in Southern California.
Is that what this is about?
We're just talking about us and you, and I've known many women that have tolerated you or tried to, and
They didn't tolerate
none
me
of
too
them
long.
were able to tolerate you.
I know.
But this one in Guatemala,
Actually, I think it's more that I wasn't able to tolerate them.
I think you couldn't tolerate them either, but you were willing to continue to tolerate them the way most men continue to tolerate the woman. But
Yeah,
it's the
well,
woman who loses tolerance.
That's when we're young and our penis thinks for us, but I'm old now, and that's not the way it is anymore.
So you're here in town doing a couple of shows.
Concerts.
Yeah, I went to them.
Yeah, I
That
saw
new
you
venue.
there.
It was cool. Yeah,
I saw you there. Yeah, I don't think you paid though.
I didn't pay, and I did drugs with a hot personal trainer in the bathroom.
Oh, well, I hope that you and him connect.
Yeah. Oh, we will.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Besides concerts,
No, just can you describe the concerts a little bit?
well, I stand on
Or
stage.
just tell them like who you are.
Oh, I'm TREAVOR MOONTRIbe, and I'm part of Desert Dwellers, and we are it's like, you know, people say like a big fish in a small pond. We're like a shark in a swimming pool or something like that.
Wait.
Like like people are like, oh my God, you're famous, but not really.
Because nobody really knows you. Like in the real world of
In the real world,
ocean of the world, you're nothing.
Exactly.
But in the swimming pool of electronica,
No, not even
dance
of
music.
electronica, of like this weird subset of like
festivals,
like Wookiee Festival, drugged up, you know, dreadlocked,
like bass parties.
people dancing all over each other and
Yeah,
eye gazing
with
on the
like
dance
their,
floor and
like,
stuff.
glow stick,
We're like
yeah.
a shark in a swimming pool of that.
You are. I mean, when I moved here, I was telling people the mattress store, the pharmacy, the like mineral everywhere I went,
Yeah,
and I was
we're
like,
big
oh, I
at
have a friend that
Asheville
like comes and
mattress
plays here,
stores.
and I'm like, it's Desert Dwellers. They're like, dude, you know Desert Dwellers? Like people seem to really like you guys here.
Yeah, Asheville's like a little, hub of that universe. Yeah.
What do you think is wrong with Asheville? Like, why did that happen?
I guess it all goes back to like the whole Black Mountain hippie days, and it's always been kind of this like hippie weirdo hub, which bodes well for people like me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just come and you play your stuff for them, and they pay, and then you leave.
Yeah. I've been playing music in Asheville since like the late 90s.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Asheville's always been Asheville, and I think that's what's magical about it and terrifying.
I do want to talk about the torso, but we're going to get to that in a second. You guys are really good. Like I used to go to those parties all the time because that's how we met, and then I stopped because my life evolved higher into like comedy and being an entertainer, and I can't go to those like drugs,
into
like
barely leaving your house, and yeah, I get it.
yeah, channeling my creative forces. I don't go to those parties anymore, but I went when you guys were here last time.
He's matured.
And I was reminded at how much of like a sound expert and a almost a medicine. It's medicinal what you guys do. You know what
Really?
I mean?
You're gonna go there?
Yeah, like I was standing there and I was taking in the sonic palette, like a meal at a restaurant
the
by a chef, and
music
it was
is-
really intricate and like
So are you saying
intentional. I'm complimenting you.
Are you saying that our music is like
Medic-
antibiotics, like penicillin or something?
No, it's not preemptive. It's like you're already sick and you go there and it's
And you leave and you're not sick anymore.
medicine. Yeah, not antibiotics.
That's interesting because sometimes when
no,
I leave our events
You feel
and,
sick.
and I'm confronted by the people there, I feel like maybe we're all kind of sick together.
Oh, like you've made them sick.
Like maybe I did something to
I
them.
noticed that last night. Some of the people that came up to you,
They were like, ah.
they were like, "Thanks again for coming. Like, you guys are really good." You know,
They're like, bro, that
you
time.
guys seemed fine when you got here,
That
and now you're
time I
leaving
heard-
after the show. And
I
you're like,
heard you at Swanee Music Festival.
what do you
and it
see
was
out
like
there?
The best night
Pull
of
it
my
together.
entire life.
We don't. What do you see? What's some of the weirdest stuff you see out there? Like, you know, like the woman at the speaker with like the glowing jellyfish, like for 4 hours. What's like the?
No, that would be cool. I wish that there was a woman with a glowing jellyfish out there.
Oh,
Like,
just a lady with a jellyfish.
that would be cool. Yeah.
Why don't you tell me?
Anyone with a jellyfish would be awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
A real
If
jellyfish,
any of
though.
you
Like,
guys can.
not like a fake, like a real fucking jellyfish.
Oh, just like
Like a
slime,
blob, this
like,
jellyfish
just dying
slime
on the dance,
stinging
it's
them,
like
and they're just like,
burning their body. And
they're there being
it's
electrocuted,
glowing
and they're
because
like
of
into it.
bioluminescence and-
yeah, that would be cool. That would be super cool.
PETA's gonna like. Does PETA care about jellyfish? Yeah, I don't think they do like marine.
Bread?
No, PETA.
Oh.
I don't know what it stands
PETA?
for. PETA, like pedophilia. PETA's
no.
very aggressive, and I know they do like mammals, and I don't know if they like would come after a jellyfish thing. They don't care about like aquariums.
I mean,
and-
any
which
attention,
is weird actually. PETA.
any attention by them
Life
would
is
be,
life,
would be
you know?
worth it because it would make us famous finally. Yeah, PETA
Is
goes
PETA-
after desert dwellers.
Pinnacles? Oh, I think it's PETA.
PETA goes after desert dwellers, whatever.
That would be so. PETA goes after desert dwellers
hot.
for animal abuse because of the lady with
Yeah,
the jellyfish.
with the jellyfish? Imagine the headlines. It's like an Onion article or something.
I can Photoshop one up for the
Okay.
cover of this episode.
Okay.
Do you want to tell them what happened last night with that older lady, real quick?
Oh, at the pre-party? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just like 20 seconds,
I met a lesbian bass player,
which is fine.
which is totally acceptable. I'm
Yeah,
not against
you could
lesbian
totally
bass
be
players,
fu-
but
lesbian, yeah.
she was so amazing at what she was doing and her facial expressions, and she was like, 65 years old with her little gray short hair, and she was a real lesbian, and she was crushing that fucking bass, just like playing fucking "These boots were made for walking." She's like, and I close upped on her on a video, and I decided at that moment that I'm gonna leave my wife for her. And then I saw her after her set,
she was
and I
how, like,
showed her the
65?
video, and I was like, I told my wife that I'm leaving her for you, and she was like, well, I guess I better go tell my wife then. And I was like, all right, let her know. And that was the end of it. I never saw her again. But I expect her to get in touch.
Sure.
Yeah, I gave the singer of her band my number. So when they see this podcast, because everybody watches the Rogan podcast,
Yeah.
she can find me.
Now, you had a name tag on
Yeah.
as well that said Anne.
Anne. Yeah.
And
Anne
when
is
you-
my alter ego at lesbian,
events.
rockabilly, 60-plus events. Yes.
Anne? That's
Anne.
what you go by?
Yeah.
And so when we went outside to help my sister carry some water because Asheville still doesn't have water,
Yeah, well, Asheville
she made an announcement over
It's like
the sound system.
Africa or something right now. It's like a
Yeah, which
like
is totally
Somalia,
fine. Africa's
Ashmalia.
sure. Yeah. We love Africa.
Yeah, Africa's cool.
When we went outside, there was an announcement made to the entire show. If there's a guy here named Trevor wearing a name tag that says Anne, can you please come to the front? Like, they were looking for you.
I know.
Do you think she told her wife about you?
She
and it
wanted
created
me.
a problem?
She wanted me to come on stage because she was going to try to marry us right then and there, but I was
So
a bit shy.
disgusting.
I don't like to get married in front of people I don't know.
You don't even like to eat in front of people.
I know. I don't.
Why?
I don't like people.
Do you think they're watching you eat and judging you, or you just don't?
Like, what if I choke and then I throw it all up on the table, and then I'm at a restaurant and that happens, and somebody comes up and gives me the Heimlich?
Right. You don't want anyone you know to be there with you to see
That would
it.
be bad.
But you don't mind if I'm with you because you like to eat with me.
Yeah, I'm cool to eat with you.
So if you choked and I saw
You
it,
saw we ate together at your table, and
we
I
did.
scarfed down those little chorizo patties. They were good.
You complain a lot about food and traffic and people.
Yeah. So do you.
Yeah. Well, I'm more like Larry David. I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing out stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not upset or
complainers are
negative.
always
I
kind
don't
of
feel like
like
I'm toxic. I'm just like
complainers
Jewish.
are always like saying that they're not complaining. They have some other thing
Right.
to say about it. I know this because I'm a complainer, but we're both complainers, and
But we know how to do it right. Like we'll
Yeah.
set it up as like, hey, just so you know, I'm not complaining.
we have reasons to complain. We're not complaining about nothing. We're not like those people that get mad and complain about nothing.
Well, it's like when Larry David is in the line at a buffet and there's a woman in front of him and a huge gap of people and he goes around her to get to the broccoli and she's upset because he cut in front of her, but he didn't cut in front of her. It's not a linear line. There's
Yeah.
stuff over there
But-
that's not complaining.
but
He's
I
just
don't-
pointing out social.
I don't know who Larry David is. Who's Larry David?
Oh, okay. And that's okay. I don't know. We could go for hours because we have a long history together since I was like 19, where we used to throw psychedelic parties in the secret deserts of Southern California, and people would come and listen to electronic music, which at that time was not on TV or on car commercials or anywhere.
You know
It was
what
like
I
a
got
secret.
digitized recently?
What?
Slike.
Oh, the film.
Yeah. Yeah, my ex, Sierra, who tolerated me for a bit, who's awesome, still really love
course,
Sierra.
yeah.
She's super cool. She's badass. She's like one of the more badass ones. And she found the VHS tape of it. And I had a bunch of other VHS tapes from when I was growing up, like my 16th birthday party and all these things like from childhood that I found in my mom's keepsake stuff when she died. And I took it to this guy in Colorado who's like this old dude that has this big house, and he digitizes VHS tapes. And I found him online and I was like, this is weird. And I went to his house and he has like piles of VHS tapes in his house. It's fucking creepy. But he didn't
You
even
went
make
to
me
his
pay up
house?
front. He sent me the stuff that he was able to get from it. I mean, it's all old VHS. They're all like weird and stuff, but I gave him Slike. And so I have a digital file because our mutual friend, homie Chris, who made Slike, refused to give me Slike, the movie that I starred in 1997 or 1998 or whatever. And it was 1997, and he wouldn't give it to me because he's a
This
fucking
is the first one.
weirdo.
I think it is
And
digitized already. It's on YouTube. You could have just
It's
not gone
not.
to the old man's house.
Heads
and-
Down is
Oh,
on
right.
YouTube.
The second,
He
the
wouldn't.
one that I was in.
He won't
Yeah.
give anyone Slike because he's homie Chris.
Anyway,
he's
so
fucking
we
crazy.
used to-
You're crazy, homie.
We used to throw parties for thousands of people in the desert, and everyone would be on psychedelics, and we were legendary DJs and traveled on tour and did shows all over the country, and you
Yeah.
still do that.
And imagine the
And I don't
superstar
do that
you'd be.
anymore. Right. I just do theaters and stand-up comedy
Yeah,
and like
you-
bring masses to their knees with
Yes,
laughter and pleasure.
yes, I know,
And
yes.
you are going to these shows and like fake. You know, you see DJs like super busy, but they're like watching the boxing match on their phone and like.
No, not boxing.
What did you
UFC.
watch last night during the show that you
UFC.
were paid?
Yes.
The
I
tickets
did-
were very expensive for a show last night. It was
Yes.
very well attended. They made a lot of money, and he was up there performing. But were you?
No, I had the my phone was on the UFC live stream.
He was watching the UFC live stream.
Like John Jones was watching
On stage,
John
but,
Jones
like-
was round kicking Stipe Miocic while hippie couples were in front of me contact
Gyrating,
dancing all
yeah.
over each other, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm playing a set, and I was like, oh shit, he fucking kicked him, but he fucking should have knocked him out.
But they think you're about to like build something in,
Yeah.
so they're all like, but it's really like synchronized to the game.
Yes.
It's like the Dark Side of the Moon album. If you start it with the Wizard of Oz and watch it, it's perfectly timed. If you could
Yes.
watch your set from
Yes,
last night,
there was this
it is
drop.
synchronized
There
to
was
the
the beat
boxing
drop,
match.
and right at that moment, he round kicked him and won the fight. It was, I mean, I wish that everyone could have seen the synchronicity because it was perfect.
Well, we can do that later.
No, I'm leaving.
Was the set recorded last night at all?
We recorded
So I can get the audio from the set, line it up with the boxing match, and see.
and post it on
post it.
Post it on.
Yeah,
on
I'll
YouTube.
leave a link.
Yeah. Maybe the UFC will see it, and we can become the UFC's DJ.
Right.
And
So between
and
PETA
can be at,
canceling
like
Desert
Madison
Dwellers-
Square Garden, playing fucking Anya Putipu, all the stuff, and the guys will be
A
fighting.
lot of ideas to get publicity.
I mean,
You
that'll
have
probably pay
UFC
well.
people. You have the PETA
Yes.
organization at Madison Square Garden. They're
Yes.
pissed at you. UFC is there because they love you. They're like,
Yeah.
PETA
I mean,
versus the UFC.
I feel like
Can you
this
imagine?
podcast, like, first of all, I'm making your podcast famous.
Okay.
And then you are going to get PETA to come after us for the jellyfish.
I am going to do that today.
And then
Yeah.
you're going to sync up the video so that we get sponsored by the UFC and become the official UFC DJ at all their stadium shows.
Because PETA and UFC are not in alignment. It's like Trump and
I doubt
Kamala
they
Harris.
are.
They are
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
I doubt it. But
I'd like to get them.
But having them, against each other
Right. In our name.
because of us
Yeah.
would be good. Yeah, it would bode well for us.
I like what PETA's doing because I love animals, but they are a little like toxic about it. Because I remember those billboards in Silver Lake that would be like just upsetting. Which it's strategic and I understand, but
It's
also
supposed to be upsetting. They're against people doing bad things to
But it's like
animals.
cigarettes in Europe on the pack where it shows like the
Yeah,
like the
because cigarettes-
surgical photo. It's like
Because cigarettes are disgusting and they're killing everyone.
not everyone.
Most of them. I'm telling you, you need to quit.
Like
You and your sister need to quit smoking. I told him, I had a heart-to-heart with him.
he had met multiple in the green room. He approached me about something else, but
Yeah, he needs a dog.
he took me to an animal shelter yesterday. He's a very busy, like, high-profile music artist, and he took time out of his very busy day, sitting here complaining, to take me to an animal shelter that only had 2 dogs.
Yeah. We got told very long stories about these dogs.
It was
and
like an
then-
intake
and
at a
then they
hospital.
brought us
We
the
looked like a
dogs.
gay couple, like,
He
which
needs
is
a dog.
fine.
He needs a dog badly. Like, I got to his house and I was like, oh my fucking God, this dude needs
This
a
house is
dog.
so huge. Why is
He needs a fucking dog. And so I was hoping that the only place that seemed to be open this weekend to go look at dogs, the Humane Society, would have a good dog for him. But one of them was like, had been abused and was a bit timid. It was a sweet dog. Like, I felt like,
Mushu?
no, Fortune. Like, Fortune was like a sweet dog.
Oh,
Like,
Mushu was the...
and then they brought this other dog out who was a psycho, like, just wanted to tackle you, and it was big, like, big.
A big dick, too.
Big dick. That dog had a
Huge dick.
big
Biggest
dick.
dick on a dog I've
And
ever seen. I
it
love
just
it.
came charging at you immediately, and I was like, holy shit. I put my knee up. I was like, fuck that shit. But it went right to Roman and knew it was going to just run rampant over him. And I was like, no, don't get that dog.
Well, I wanted
This
to
dog is going to destroy your house. And so, yeah.
I wanted to get that big...
Big
This
dick
is going
dog.
to... PETA is going to have a
Yeah.
cake
Yeah.
day from this, a field.
The funny thing is, recently I was staying in Austin, and my friend there has this little, like, one of those old man looking chihuahuas, like those long-haired chihuahuas.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's like a 180 years old kung fu master.
Yes.
And this dog is pretty pissy and gets like, he wants to like bite you and stuff, but he became my friend and finally warmed up to me. And I've stayed there a few times, and this dog is like never, I mean, I'm scared of this dog. It's like this big and it wants to fucking kill you. But that dog has a fucking big dick.
It's like people, short guys often have a huge dick.
It was like, it's like a dog like this big, and its dick is like bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I mean, he gets sensitive about his penis.
Well, I didn't want the woman in Guatemala to take this the wrong way when she watched. Be like, how do you know how big
I
his
saw it
dick
at
is?
Burning Man.
Okay. Before your car comes, I want to
driver?
talk about security and protection and the amount of people that. Because I was at your show and there were so many people and you were walking around, and I get kind of self-conscious when, as a performing artist, when I walk around the auditorium or the stadium when I'm performing, like
Yeah.
they're here for me,
When
but
you're
I'm just
at
walking
MSG
around
and
like,
you're-
and I feel it, like I don't know how to hold my face or like what to do.
God, Tim.
Like, do I just like zone out, or do I like look like I'm like having fun? Like, how do you? It's too contrived. How do you deal with being with looking in the mirror every morning at who you are?
I mean, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not really starting to look very old when I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like checking for wrinkles and seeing how many gray hairs I have and stuff like that. I don't actually look in the mirror and I'm like, man, how can
you live with this?
how can you live with yourself being this famous? And like, yeah, I don't.
He's so great.
I don't think that's.
You could read people's thoughts in the
know.
mirror. Yours in the morning, you'd be like, how do you do?
I mean, maybe before my set, it's like, one of those movie scenes where they're like, famous person's looking in the mirror after they vomit, and they're just like,
They love you.
they're
You
like,
got
they
this.
love you, you got it, and this and that. You know, like I'm just like, I hope I don't have a
question
panic attack
yourself,
on
they
stage
love you.
tonight, and I hope I don't like barf all over everything. I hope I don't have to like take a shit in the middle of my set. That would suck. You know, that's why I don't eat before a set. You know?
I was gonna. Well, I often ask my guests if they just took a shit in my house.
I
because
did.
You just did before. In the previous episode I did, she had just come out from taking a shit and sat down and.
Other people have shit in there.
Yeah. Why
I hope you cleaned the toilet.
do people shit when there's other people around? Can't you just contract the muscle? It's like an instrument, like a musical instrument. Like you don't have to like. Right there. Like you're like, okay, we're doing a podcast. I'll do this.
Well, I
in
guess the
half an
choice
hour.
it was either like I take a poop here, or I hold it and then I have to take a poop at the airport, or even worse, have to take a poop
the
on the
plane.
airplane.
That
And
is one of the
then
worst.
like, especially if you like go into a bathroom in front of people, like it's one thing when you go to the back and you just pass by everyone. Like if you don't come back for a while,
No,
you
if
could
you're
have
in
been
the front,
standing
it's
in
like
line.
you get off stage
but
and
you know,
then
you
you're
could have
like-
been standing in line or whatever. Like maybe you had to wait for 3 other people to finish pooping before you went and peed. But like if you go forward on the airplane and you get in the forward toilet and everybody watches you,
featured on-
and now you take 20 minutes in there, you know, and you walk
On your
out.
way back,
and
everyone- They're all.
they pretend like it's no big
okay,
deal
yeah.
because it might happen to them, you know, and
Yeah.
like everyone poops and all that. But really, they're all like,
Sometimes
that dude
you get a
just
look.
took a huge
Yeah.
shit in there. Like,
They're kinda
how
like-
many times did he have to wipe? He was in there for an hour.
Well, it's something I think maybe like fans of yours might want to know that people don't ask you a lot in the music interview environment is.
They're like, how did Moontribe start?
No,
I'm like,
have
read
you
another
ever-
interview.
No,
like
it's
it's
not
been
that.
asked, like, where did desert?
What inspired
where
you
did you
to
get the
make
name
electronic
Desert Dwellers
music?
from? I'm like, have you not read 97% of Desert Dwellers interviews before you?
Yeah,
decided
go
to
read
interview?
that somewhere else. My question was, have you ever jerked off on an airplane or
No.
ejaculated? Never.
Well, I'm not going to say I haven't ejaculated on an airplane, but I've never jerked off on an
You
airplane.
never just I have to and gone into the bathroom and done it.
No.
How did you ejaculate? It was someone else made you do
It
it
was a Mile High Club thing.
in the bathroom
Yeah.
with a stranger or someone you knew.
I'm not going to say.
Okay. I didn't ejaculate, but I was on a red eye with someone in my row, and it was like the middle of the night, and there was an empty seat between us, and for hours,
And you jerked them off?
not a single word was spoken, but it was that thing like when you're an adolescent, and you're like sleeping with someone in bed, and over the course of several hours, your bodies slowly start touching, and you're not sure if it's just in your head or if they're aware of it, and it builds to this thing where suddenly you're like, oh my God, it was like that, and then he eventually pulled a blanket over his lap, and I
You gave him a handy.
did something
And
for
he
him.
ejaculated.
Yeah.
Wow. Were you in a row with 3 people? Like,
No,
was
it
a
was
third
just
person
us
there?
in our row and then an empty seat between us, and everyone else was like asleep on the plane.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I just like finished that and put my headphones back on and watched like
Nice.
episodes, and then the plane
That's hot.
unloaded, and we got up and
he had,
exited
like, a
and
big wet spot.
No, it was just
Oh, because you ate it. You like
come on,
pulled your hand out afterwards and were like,
please. Of course I ate it.
sweet.
It was just cool. Like it's like a porno. Like when you
Sounds
do
cool.
that with someone,
Yeah,
and
sounds
like
cool.
not a single word.
It's
is
actually
spoken,
more
it's
cool
kinda-
than it is hot. You know, it's like,
Right.
that's cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I wish we had more time, but I do want to just because this has been a theme. It's been something I've been really interested in is the torso, and I just want to talk about it for a second.
Yeah, the torso.
Do you want to tell them how it started or what you told me?
Yeah, I mean,
Because you were mastering an audio thing for me, and we were texting, and then
yeah,
you sent me this.
I was.
I'm
recently,
jealous of women.
I was
like,
recently on the road for a month, and I'm lonely, and I'm getting horny and shit, and I'm like tired of wanking, and I'm like, it's just. I was talking to him and
wasn't working.
telling it
You're
that
all-
like, it's not fair that women have all these great sex toys. Like women can have like dildos and vibrators and all these things, and it's like. A dildo is like basically a dick, like they can fucking fuck it and it's like having a dick. Like it's great. But like we have fleshlights and these little fake vaginas and they're horrible. They don't feel anything like a vagina. I've tried them. They're not good.
Right.
And then he told me, well, you could just get an Asian torso.
Don't do that. It's
That's
it
what you
doesn't matter.
said.
I did say that.
Okay, it's gone to the point where it doesn't matter the race.
The race doesn't matter, but
Race doesn't matter because it's just a torso.
It's not a
Like-
racism. It's just a fetish. Like some people are into like.
Saying it's an Asian torso.
A lot of guys are like
nothing
really
racist
into
about
Asian
it. I don't
chicks. Yeah,
understand
they're
why
into them. They're
why
not
people think it's racist.
against
Like,
them.
who
They
cares?
want them.
Who
Yeah.
cares what? It could be any race.
Okay, just go ahead. Go with Asian. Yeah,
Except the Indian one. I don't want Indian one. No offense.
we'll cut that out. It's fine.
And he was like, well, you can just get a torso. And I'm like, a torso? I'm like, but how the fuck do I travel with a torso? He's like, well, you
This
have
is
like
over
a
text,
suitcase. And yeah, we're having this over text.
It's like, where do I put the torso?
Where do I put the torso? Like, have it in my suitcase. Like, you go through TSA and they're like, excuse me, sir, you're going to have to take that out and put it in its own bin. You like have a torso in the bin. Like, so you can't travel with it, obviously, you know, like, I mean, they see dildos all the time, like, whatever, no big deal, fleshlight, whatever, it's just another fleshlight. But a torso, like, they might think it's actually a real human torso.
Right.
Like,
If it's a certain height, I did this on stage. As a joke.
TSA
I
could
was
get
talking
very
about, like, having to
suspicious.
buy a ticket for the torso.
TSA could get very suspicious of a fucking torso
Sure.
in a thing. They might be like, oh my God, like this guy killed somebody and put a torso in the thing. But then they pull it out and they realize it's a fucking sex toy. And then you're standing there and you're just like, hey.
Well, do you think it's different for women?
So you can't travel
their
with it. So
dildo
then
gets
I was
pulled
like,
out? That's embarrassing.
So then
too.
I'm like, so what is it like in our rider? It's like, you know,
what you need for a show.
it's like two bottles of spring water,
fresh
fruit, Asian torso, you know, like.
Hey,
like,
can you look at this rider? It says fruit. They want 2 bottles of water.
It's like
and
fruit,
an Asian torso, I think.
water, coconut water, Asian torso.
Hey, listen, your ride is here. Should we
Yeah,
just have
I heard my driver. I heard my driver arrive.
It's not his driver. It's actually the brains behind the music project that's here to pick him up. And
No,
maybe
he's my driver.
Oh, I see. That's the driver.
Yeah.
Should want him to say
No,
hi.
I hired him. He's like Uber.
Hey, driver.
But private.
Your house is colder than outside.
That's what he kept saying.
Yeah, and by the way, everybody,
Do you want to come say hi?
it's so
for a
cold
second?
in here that I probably should have my jacket on.
He's been complaining the entire time he's been here. How cold it is. Your house is like a casino. Like it's so big and luxurious.
There's no dog. There's no cats.
No dogs, no cats. What am I fuck a torso and put it in my suitcase? It's exhausting me. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, you have something for me?
Yeah,
Sweet.
let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on the Ro Rogan
Desert
podcast.
Dwellers' new track, I Am Love, drops on July 7th, I think. Check it out.
The new Trevor Moontribe album is done. I'm never going to release it because nobody's going to like it and nobody's going to care about it, and that's going to devastate me. So I'm just going to share it with like friends every now and then and make them tell me that it's the best thing they've ever heard, like Roman did. And then, yeah,
You can
that's it.
send a message and we'll get you a
Yeah,
Dropbox
if you
link or
subscribe to the Ro Rogan podcast, you'll get a free copy of the new Trevor Moontribe album.
Do you know how many people are going to go to the Joe Rogan podcast trying to find the link to your new album?
I hope so,
While PETA is like...
because then I'll have
blowing up
PETA,
their
UFC, and Joe Rogan.
It actually summarizes you perfectly in a
Yeah,
nutshell.
all those things.
PETA, UFC, and Joe Rogan. Trevor, thanks for being on the podcast and making this podcast what it is.
Yeah, I really feel like now everyone's going to know about your podcast.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
All right, goodbye.
Goodbye. You owe me $10,000.